We fall even deeper into the twilight zone as Steve Mnuchin came out this morning and told all of us that the United States and China have a conceptual agreement, even though the United States and China will not meet till next month. This is just more clear evidence that they are going to do whatever they have to do and say whatever they have to say in order to continue to prop up these markets while the economy continues to plunge off of a cliff. It is Monday, September 9, 2019. I hope everybody is having an incredible day. So as we were being filled with more propaganda this morning by Steve Mnuchin, doing whatever they have to do to prop these markets up, I want to go over some real data with you concerning the U.S. economy and the U.S. consumer who is broke. This was on CNBC this morning. U.S. consumer borrowing posts $23.3 billion gain, biggest gain since late 2017. The Federal Reserve says the overall consumer is borrowing increased by $23.3 billion in July. It was the biggest monthly gain since a $29.9 billion jump in November of 2017. Borrowing in the category that covers auto and student loans also posted a sizable gain. July gain led by credit cards, $10 billion gain in July with credit card use. Auto and student loans gained $13.3 billion in July. Consumer credit is at a record high now at $4.1 trillion. And when I read these numbers on CNBC, do your due diligence. Don't take my word for it. It's on CNBC this morning, probably many other sites. The consumer's broke. They are borrowing. 25% of all credit card holders are using credit cards now to just survive, just to pay for food, groceries, rent, medical emergencies, medical care, using credit cards. Okay, 25% of all credit card users are using credit cards to survive. And when you look at this amount of debt by the consumer, $4.1 trillion, consumer credit at a record high of $4.1 trillion, you would think if this economy was actually healthy, that the consumer would not be carrying this much debt. In fact, the consumer would be paying down debt, not acquiring more debt. So this does not make any sense to me. If the economy is so great, why the consumer is carrying so much debt. This is on Zero Hedge this morning. Consumer credit card debt explodes in July despite rates at 18-year highs. Why are people using credit cards when you have a record interest rate? All right, record high interest rates to use a credit card. Why would the consumer be using credit cards, especially in this great economy? And the reason why is because many of them have to. There are many people out there that are living beyond their means on purpose, getting themselves into very, very serious trouble here just because of greed and because they want to have a certain lifestyle. There are other people who are using credit cards in order to survive day to day. So there's really two different groups of people here. People that are absolutely out of their minds, stupid, reckless, careless, trying to live a lifestyle that they cannot afford. And there's another group of people who have no choice but to use credit cards because they don't have the income. They've had an emergency that they can't afford. Maybe it's medical, car repair, whatever it might be. There are people out there that have no choice now but to take on more debt, hoping, everybody is hoping that things are going to turn around, that there's going to be a miracle, that they're somehow going to be able to pay this record credit card debt off, and it's not going to happen. And this is going to be a big problem at some point here in America, and it's becoming a very big problem right now. So if you don't have to use a credit card, Do not use a credit card unless it is an emergency. Make sure if you do, pay it off as soon as you can. Listen, everybody has some amount of credit card debt, I understand. But when we start seeing household household credit card debt, $12,000, $14,000 with 21, 23, 24% interest, these people are never going to dig themselves out of this hole. And what happens when they have an emergency or another emergency? It just gets deeper. And so this is really a grenade that can go off at any time. And people are really playing Russian roulette here with these credit cards. Another article here, people not getting the medical attention they need. Money matters. Financial stress literally making 2 in 5 Americans sick. This article goes on to say that they surveyed 1,000 Americans ages 25 to 45. Financial stress and worries are making people physically sick. Main financial worries was healthcare. 39% said financial stress has affected their health. 35% say financial stress has harmed their relationship. You know, when people are married or in a relationship and they start having financial problems, running up the credit cards, living beyond their means, emergencies coming up, you know, one of the biggest contributors to divorce and breakups is financial stress. 26% say financial worries have harmed friendships. 26% say it had affected their performance at work, and 21% say it affected their attendance at work. So a really big main concern here is health insurance. And it still shocks me why we allow so many people from all over the world into America, knowing that these people are going to be dependent on our healthcare system at some point. Yet we have so many Americans that have medical emergencies, don't have insurance, need medical aid, yet we're too worried about people from other parts of the world, worrying more about them than we are our own citizens. And that's really, really sad. Zero hedge today. Class 8 heavy-duty truck orders plunge 79% in August. We went over this the other day, but I want to bring this article up again as it just came out today on Zero Hedge. How in the world, if we have an economy based on consumption, based a large portion of our GDP is based on the service sector, how is a service sector economy going to support the trucking industry if everybody is driving for Uber and Lyft and doing manicures and pedicures and massage and they're gym trainers and they're making mochas at Starbucks, all in the service sector? How are we going to see this depression that has now taken place in the trucking sector? How are we going to dig out of this as people are getting tapped out, as people are going to be forced to buy less, as we witness this retail apocalypse continue to get worse, and we have a economy that is largely based on the service sector? So what is going to happen to the trucking industry in the future here in America does not look good at all. SHTFplan.com, good article here. 120 million workers need to be reskilled due to AI, says IBM study. Now, this is very interesting. So, over the next few years, many people are no longer going to have a job because it's going to be replaced by AI, technology, robotics. And so, a lot of people and a lot of sectors are no longer going to need human beings. So what are these people going to do for work? And now here's the bigger question. Why are we continuing to allow people to continue to flood into America when these lower type jobs are no longer going to be available a few years from now? So as we continue to allow millions and millions of people into this country, what are they going to do? And then who is going to take care of these people? Again, while you don't have health insurance, while you don't have a medical plan, these people are going to be dependent on our medical system when they need it. And so why is this country allowing so many people to flood into this country when we know that over 100 million jobs are going to be replaced by AI? Most of these, lower sector manual labor type jobs. Knowing that, what are we going to do with all these people here in America when they're going hungry, when they need medical attention, when they need work, when they need money? What are we going to do? Are we just going to continue with the free handouts? Are we going to continue to see hospitals going out of business, doctors quitting because the system can no longer take this drag? It is being just pulled down with an epidemic of people that unfortunately should not even be here. And unfortunately, the American citizen is paying the price or is going to pay the price. Just think, if your kid has a medical emergency, you go to an emergency room and it's an 8 or 10 hour wait because there are so many people from around the world in front of you. So I don't understand why the American citizen isn't being treated like a citizen. And so again, this is going to take a huge toll on the economy of America, and just morally, it's completely wrong. I don't think an American should be taking a back seat to somebody who is not a citizen of this country. Zero hedge. Leprosy could be the next public health crisis to hit Los Angeles. Believe it or not, this is all over the internet. This is on multiple sites. Check it out. Leprosy now is popping up in Los Angeles. So, we've had yellow fever, typhus, hepatitis, TB, and now we are witnessing a leprosy outbreak taking place in Los Angeles County. So, this stuff, you can't even make this stuff up. What if America got hit by some plague or some massive outbreak? And again, when we're not taking care of our cities, we're not taking care of our homeless, we're too worried about taking care of everybody else. These are the problems we're going to be facing. And people just think that an outbreak, a plague, some emergency can't affect America, just like a financial collapse or a dollar collapse can't affect America. These people just think America is immune to everything. You are living in La La Land if you think that these things are not going to affect America. They're affecting America right now. And what's sad is so many people are already being affected by a weaker dollar. They're being affected by a weak economy, yet they cannot see it or they can't admit it. But if you're living with 8 people in your apartment, I think you have to face the music that the economy's not doing that great. This economy now, this new world that we're heading into, basically is going to make you rent your car, rent your house or apartment, live with multiple people. You'll probably be renting clothes at some point. They're going to make sure that you don't own anything. They're going to want to go to electronic money so they can follow every cent you spend. They're going to put cameras, as they already are, facial recognition. So you're going to continue to lose your privacy, your rights, your freedom. And people are just going to be okay with that. They believe that's just the way it is. It's all, if I don't have anything to hide, then they can see whatever I'm doing. And, people are really, really not seeing the end game here. And people better really, really wake up as they continue to lose their rights. They continue to lose their standard of living. They're losing their freedoms. And they just don't see it happening. So while they continue to grow more marijuana out here in California, as we have more grows and more shops and more vaping and more smoking and more wax, that will continue to dumb down the population even more so they can fool you and take even more advantage of you than they already have. So as many Americans are dependent and addicted to drugs, pharmaceuticals, many Americans are addicted to sports such as football. Let me go back for a second, and then let me be clear about something. A lot of people, attack me because I'm not pro marijuana. If you are taking marijuana, smoking it, taking it in liquid form or food form, and you have a medical condition, just like if you have to take a pharmaceutical because you have a medical condition, I have no problem with that. But especially marijuana, I think is an incredible option to pharmaceuticals. I think marijuana has great positive needs. If you have a medical condition, my problem is when you're 25 years old and you're healthy, why would you succumb to taking drugs on a daily basis, being addicted to something, dumbing yourself down, slowing yourself down, slowing your reflexes and your timing down and your responses down? Listen, I don't know anybody out there that would want their pilot smoking dope. I don't know anybody out there that wants their attorney smoking dope. I don't know anybody out there that would want their surgeon smoking dope, or somebody managing their business smoking dope, okay? It does not make you super quick, responsive, alert. That's just the way it is. It slows you down. And I certainly wouldn't want to be in business with somebody that smokes dope. So that being said, it is a great option to pharmaceuticals, and I think it serves an incredible purpose if you need it, if you have a medical condition. So let's be clear about that. I'm not picking on anybody that does it because they have a condition. I applaud you. I think it's a great option to pharmaceuticals, which I think are very, very dangerous. But that being said, let's talk sports. Breitbart today, week 1 in the NFL, seats still empty for several teams as NFL's 100th season kicks off. And I would like to know what you think about this. Many, many seats empty at these football games. Is it just because it's the beginning of the year? Is it too hot in some of the stadiums? Or have they worn their welcome out? Have people just said enough is enough? Or are people just tapped out and broke and not able to do it? So what do you think about the NFL now and the low attendance? Is it financial, or are people standing up and just saying enough is enough? We've had enough of these players, enough of this disrespect to our country, or is it a combination? I would love to know what you think. Please comment down below and let me know what you think. So I'm going to wrap it up right here, but I want to touch base on one more article on Zero Hedge that I read this morning. It's titled "Russia, China Continue Massive Substitution of Dollar Assets by Gold." And this is important because it's explaining to you what is going on behind the scenes, why it is so important that you're protecting yourselves, and why so many other countries, Russia, China, and many other countries, protecting themselves because they understand the manipulation that is taking place in these U.S. markets. Without the buyback bid made possible by record cheap debt, which was used to fund corporate buybacks, without this, the stock market would be nowhere near where it is right now. The sole buyer of U.S. stocks remain corporate buybacks, not institutions. We are watching the stock market rally back within inches of all-time highs. Wow. Earnings and earning expectations have tumbled. You look with all the manipulation, the corporate buybacks, the quantitative easing, the low rates, where would these markets be today? We look at earning expectations tumbling. You look at the price of stocks going up while expectations and earnings go down. Apple, 5 years ago, made the same amount of money, or nearly the same amount of money, earnings, than it did last year. But the stock price is twice the amount that it was 5 years ago. So ask yourself, why is Apple, I don't know, around $200 today, while its earnings are the same as they were 5 years ago? Ask yourself that. Earnings are the same as they were 5 years ago, but the stock price has doubled. So a lot of that has to do with these corporate buybacks driving and pushing up the price of these stocks. China foreign exchange reserves jumped to 3.107 trillion. Gold holdings rise to 2.89 million troy ounces. That's 99 tons of gold in just 9 months. That's 5% higher than it was last year. Russia gold holdings have reached $109.5 billion as Russia shifts international reserves away from the U.S., and many other countries are doing this. A global trend is taking place right now, and we are seeing a massive substitution of the U.S. dollar, and many countries are replacing that with gold reserves, hard physical gold. And it's not just Russia and China. There are many countries doing this. And what's really unbelievable is how we're allowing Russia to befriend China and and become such great friends with China. Russia and China are a force to be reckoned with, and we are literally chastised if we reach out and do anything with Russia. So instead of befriending Russia, having a relationship, having peace with Russia, we're forcing them to be best friends with China. And I think that's a huge, critical mistake, militarily and financially. But again, we have all this collusion. And so we shouldn't be talking to our enemies. We shouldn't be making peace. In fact, we should be making them partners with the second biggest economy in the world, China. I think that's a huge mistake. But going back to this article, you need to be doing the same thing. You need to be substituting this fiat paper monopoly money and making sure that you have hard assets. I believe that the US dollar is going to be under extreme pressure at some point. It may be the strongest currency in the world right now, but that's because all of the rest of the currency in the world are folding. They're sick as a dog, and they're literally been printed to the moon, and so many of them becoming worthless. They're just sick, decaying fiat currencies all over the world. And the US dollar, being the world reserve currency, gives it the advantage. But how long can the US dollar remain intact when you're seeing fiat currencies around the world fall apart? And there is no fiat currency that has ever stood the test of time, but we know that gold and silver has. We've seen a major pullback now. I think it's a wonderful opportunity, if you're not in the precious metals market, to maybe get in now and buy a little bit. And if you're in it, I say you keep buying it, because it's cheap. Gold was cheap at 1550, silver was cheap at 1960. So it continues to be cheap. I believe that every one of you need to be protecting yourself, and I believe that precious metals are one of the best financial ways to protect yourself. We went out and we did some training yesterday. You can go to my Facebook page. As you know, the algos don't really like anything to do with firearms. So that is on my Facebook page. You can go to Jeremiah Babe, and we did a little bit of training yesterday. So if you want to check that out, by all means, please go and check out my Facebook page. Other than that, just make sure that you're doing the best that you can. Make sure that, most of all, walk close to God, and be thankful to God for everything you have: your family, your friends, your health, a roof over your head. And I thank God every day that I'm here in America, because there are a lot of places in the world that would be a lot worse than being here. So I still believe we live in the greatest country in the world. And I know a lot of people are probably going to write me and attack me because I love America and I believe in America. Look, I don't love this government, but I love this country. God bless every one of you. Pray for this country. This country's in big trouble. We need to be praying for it, and we need to be preparing for it. God bless you, and I will talk to you very, very soon. Thanks for watching.